Coach, what do you draw from that?
Well, it's a four-quarter effort, and in conditions like that, you don't always get that for a start off. So to win every quarter and win second, third, and fourth reasonably comfortably, I thought we were a bit lucky in the first quarter. I thought they 1-5 could have easily been 4-2, if that adds up.
Yeah.
So, but we took our chances, and it's in a position like this. You get a great deal of joy out of this. I suppose in many respects it's great for the supporters and good for the player group and sort of stuff. But I don't. You feel desperately for. I do, and I feel desperately for Brad Scott because the coach. Sometimes these things happen. Yeah. I've been on the receiving end of these through my career, and there's not a lot you can do. You can keep swapping players around, but luck seems to follow the other side. And in this case, bad bounces seem to go our way. I'm not detracting anything from our play, but we had the rub of the green, and in many instances they perhaps didn't. So again, I just don't know whether. You can't tell players not to play hard, not to play well, because you can't flaunt with form, and our goal was to be effective every quarter. On the same token, though, the result, as I say, I'm not 100% sure they're the things that I really enjoy.
Do you think it was a good sign of the work ethic your team that Fasolo comes on third quarter and then 5 minutes later sprinting along the wing and produces that goal cycle?
It's part of the requirement as a sub, that you're fresh, tells you what really happens in games of football, I suppose. It's the fatigue factor over the course of the game sometimes is probably not noticed until a player like that, and we're seeing that more and more this year, where a player comes on and has an impact, because fatigue-wise, in the past it was even spread. You just put things down to, well, the game's intense and we don't really see a difference. But now we're seeing a comprehensive difference, particularly, I think, in these conditions where a player who can run on top of the ground, or the team are getting enough football, it gives that player a fair amount of confidence, and it just shows you how fresh you could be or can be in a game that was a bit scrappy at times. In fact, very scrappy, mainly because we don't seem to play in the wet these days.
I think Dan Swan's shown the benefits of that season. Sort of.
Oh, you judge it.
Well, I'd say yes.
Well, I don't think you're far wrong. I'm always bemused that people from afar or outside are prepared to potshot people, and how much they spend. We've got a real phobia about what people spend on. This is not complete. This is just part of the process that Dane has now, along with Darren Jolly, Brett McCaffrey, is on the absolute cusp of getting into the side on his performances since he got back, and hardly played a game because of his injury. So, has it been a benefit immediately? One would say so. For the long term, we hope so. I don't see the same people lining up to have a crack at Geelong about spending X amount of dollars in Brisbane or Gold Coast or wherever they're playing next week. So I think we're very selective of what where we come from with this, and this is not because we see Swan with 38 possessions or anything. It's simply our methodology, our members working hard, our sponsorship working hard, and we taking advantage.
Had the league not so big, would you have to have waited longer to make Dale Thomas the sub, or did that sort of help you?
Oh no, I was thinking that 10 minutes earlier for Travis, quite frankly. It's just a matter of getting opinion from the Director of Science, and Professor Butterfin said one of two. So at that stage we went for Dale.
Any concerns about his ankle, Nick, or don't you know? He appeared pretty sore when he came off the first half.
Well, I'm loath to talk about injuries until I get a medical update. something I'm not as a doctor. One of many things.
Is that the way you took him off over?
Oh, he was the one that was nominated by our Director of Science. So it's one of two, and you don't run on your eye. So we thought we'd take the bloke off that runs on his legs, and he become the one instead of Travis.
Did you go to the grounds a big job today on a 300 gamer? I've been very pleased with that.
He acquitted himself quite well. He will draw a lot from that because the 2 goals that Boomer kicked were a direct result of lack of senior football. So, ball watching, no, man watching. Man watching and not disposing of it correctly, got hurt both times for him. So, but that's a great lesson to play on a bloke like that. I don't see any exemption from age or experience that you should have an out clause when you're playing senior football on who or how or experienced the player is. There's no out clause in my book. So his role was to play as a back and run around with one of their forwards. And I thought generally he did pretty well. He's had 11 possessions and Harvey's had 12, kicked 2 goals. So he'll learn a lot from that. And Lachlan Keith had 11, took 5 marks, didn't have an impact on the scoreboard, which is a shame. In fact, I think he might have handed one off to Leon Davis, who didn't finish it. So that'll be a great, given who he's replaced and how long he's going to be out for. This is a terrific step for him. And for Solo as a young player, so we had 1, 2, and 3 game players today. And for Solo, ended up having 8 and having 2 shots on goal. So they're all bonuses. The more you can play these players, the better. And we've got a couple more that we really are keen to play. And there's a couple of senior players back there that we really need to get a kick along here because we're now at round 16. Is this 16? Round 16. So we've got 8 left. And it's amazing how from round 12 or halfway through your season, it just seems to quicken up and you end up getting caught up in not playing who you should play. No question I made a mistake last year in bringing players back after 5 weeks or 4 weeks and then giving them a couple and expecting them to be cherry-ripe AFL players. It doesn't happen. It doesn't matter how experienced they were. They get into a rut playing the same VFL tempo. And we can't afford that this year. If we're going to do it correctly, we cannot afford to do that. That's exactly why Luke Rams played, not Ben Johnson. And it's exactly why Keith played, not Brett McCaffrey. So we've in my book anyway, and I'll make those decisions, we've just got to get games into these blokes.
The Carlton game's just about sold out already. Are you excited about the prospect of that big crowd, big game?
I'm sure some of the player group would be, some of the younger players. I'm sure the crowd are. I don't treat that game any different than what I would treat this game. You treat all your opponents with respect. I believe I have anyway, a fair association with most of the coaches. So I think that hasn't faltered with Rats. And we go head to head. So it's not me. I don't go head to head with him. We know that we are just a minor player in this. That the teams will go head to head next week, and it should be terrific for the public.
So you say you don't sort of treat it any differently, but do you get any more sort of anticipation when 2 rivals that have played this position?
I've walked off the ground for about an hour playing North Melbourne. I've hardly even got Carlton on my mind. In fact, I haven't. So let's. You may sit in the grandstand watching a game of football. It doesn't matter who wins or draws. I do. So my energies are directed straight towards the North Melbourne game, and I can't just automatically, believe it or not, go because I step in here and start thinking about the next week. I can categorically tell you it doesn't happen. I can tell you almost every kick that North Melbourne got, and that's part of coaching.